Alright, hello and welcome to Camel Finance. I'm your boy Camel, and things are heating up in the Bitcoin world. We saw yesterday MicroStrategy buy another 5,500 Bitcoin for just over $147 million. So they are currently sat on a stack of 158k plus Bitcoin, and I suspect we're going to continue to see Saylor continue to accumulate Bitcoin. If hypothetically 15 or more companies, or countries even, acquired the same quantity of Bitcoin as Michael Saylor has, then there would be zero Bitcoin left on exchanges. Yesterday, I showed this. I said, look, when the stocks are down more than 1% in August and September, it hasn't always been a bad thing. In fact, Q4 has been higher 12 out of 13 times, some with huge gains in October. I also showed this yesterday and said that when the S&P 500 is up year to date between 10 and 20% by the end of September, the fourth quarter has been higher 84% of the time. So there is still gas left in this goose in terms of potentially seeing a major upside rally into the end of this year. And this is against a backdrop of 53.9% of the market currently expecting the next move in the Nasdaq to be down 10% rather than up. And you can see 20% of market participants have no idea, right? So again, the contrarian view here is to expect a major upside rally, and I really like the odds. When I'm calling for a rally and no one else believes it, then that gives me even more confidence that we are going to get that year-end rally. And it's not just the stock market, right? Because the best Bitcoin buying opportunity is likely here right now. You can see the seasonality of Bitcoin says that we, on average, over the past 14 odd years, have put in a 15% upside move in October, followed by a 43% upside move in November. And if you take the average, if you start at 25k Bitcoin price going into October and then do the maths, what is a 15% gain plus a 42% gain, so on, that puts us, by my rough calculations, at $71,500 by April. And of course, we're expecting the halving to occur somewhere in this neighborhood. So historically speaking, the backdrop is indeed there for us to see major upside into the end of the year. I was looking at some on-chain metrics yesterday, and I found this for the top cap. The top cap currently sits at a whopping $301,700 for this bull cycle. Now you can see, historically speaking, every time the top has come in, it has come in when we touch the top cap line. So if history is to repeat once more, we could see a $300,000 Bitcoin price by the end of this cycle. It's also worth noting the longer this cycle goes on for, the higher the top cap metric will be. I often say on this channel, show me the charts and I'll tell you the news. Well, in fact, let's do it that way around, right? Here's the chart for the S&P 500. If you've been here before, you know what I'm about to say. We are patiently sidelined, waiting for that cycle low to show up. But note the date of a perfect 40-day cycle low, 16th of October. Now, if I hop into a Bitcoin chart, and again, we are waiting patiently for that 60-day cycle low to show up, note the date of that one, okay? 20th of October. Now, of course, it's plus or minus 10%, so we could see this 6 days either side and still count this as a perfectly valid cycle. But again, to reiterate those dates, a perfect 60-day cycle would be the 20th of October for Bitcoin, and a perfect 40-day cycle for the S&P would be the 16th of October. So show me the charts, and I'll tell you the news, right? We're expecting a cycle low to form, followed by upside out of that cycle low. What is happening on the 16th and the 17th of October? You tell me, okay? A whole heap of ETFs, spot ETF applications, are about to reach their second deadline. Now, does this necessarily mean these are guaranteed to be approved? No, of course not. But I can't tell you how many cycle lows I've been trading over the years and notice that big news catalysts often align with those cycle lows. And that is why I often say, show me the chart and I'll tell you the news. The chart says we're going to find the cycle lows somewhere in that 16th of October to 20th of October timeframe and come tearing out of here into the end of the year, as per all of these statistics and things that I've been showing you, as per the seasonality of Bitcoin. And on top of that, we also have the Bitcoin ETF approval potentially to catalyze a major upside rally into the end of the year. So things are heating up, and they're heating up quickly, and I love to see it personally. With all that said, this is against a backdrop of a strong Dixie, right? A strong dollar basket, but it's undeniably got major bearish divergence on the RSI. Remember, when we see bearish divergence like this, meaning lower highs on the RSI versus higher highs in price, this is indicative of trend exhaustion, and it just so happens to be occurring right around that 106 level where if the thing is going to reverse, that's where it needs to do it. So again, we've been talking about this over and over and over again on this channel. If the Dixie is going to reverse, this would be the area to do it. It would be to run the liquidity above this high and then sharply reverse. I've also been pointing out over and over again the euro dollar, which, remember, the euro makes up somewhere in the neighborhood of 57-58% of the dollar basket of the DXY. We're also expecting this thing to find an ICL or a yearly cycle low, whatever you want to call it, and come swinging out of here. Of course, if it can do that, if it can indeed break out of this downward sloping pink resistance line, we are going to see the dollar roll over. So all the stars are aligned here very, very nicely. Like I said, we've got some patience to wait a few weeks until we get into that middle or late October timeframe, but then I think it's time to get very bullish very, very quickly. It's the same deal for the stock market. We're probably going to see some downside. We're probably going to see some shakeouts into this weekly cycle low and this daily cycle low, but then of course we've got plenty of space ahead to run the highs into the new year, or excuse me, into the end of the year. It's the same for the Nasdaq, right? Patience, patience, patience. Same for the Dow. Patience, patience, patience. Is a volatility spike going to be sold off? I would think so. I've marked this red arrow here because this perfectly aligns with the cycle low for the S&P 500. So I would expect the VIX to top, not necessarily at this price, but at this timing zone for the VIX. I expect us to, whether we go up or down or sideways from here, we will find probably the local high or the top for the VIX before then it gets crushed into the end of the year. I am still pushing this FTSE 100 long, all the while we're not closing daily candles below this yellow resistance line, then I will continue to push this long. I am back to neutral on my Bitcoin miner positions, so I have cut both of these trades. Both of these trades are off the table, and we are sat on the sidelines waiting to start stacking these positions again as we enter what I believe will be a massive upside rally for the Bitcoin towards the end of the year. I've also cut all of these positions for MicroStrategy, so profit locked in there. And again, we are sat on the sides. We've got a really nice trend line in red, which we'll wait to attack from, get a breakout of there, and that will certainly be a long, and we'll put some size on, and we'll go again, right? Again, with Riot, we are out of the market, waiting to see what will happen. And Marathon, stop is moved to break even. And again, we got a really nice trend line in red, which we're lining up here with this long, getting ready to go if we can do something like this red squiggle is suggesting. So I think find these cycle lows, and I can add all these positions back and have high confidence that a big Bitcoin pump is coming into the end of the year. I think I've showed you this just not too long ago, maybe in yesterday or the day before's episode. I think we've got something like this ahead of us, right? I think this is what's ahead of us. And what's interesting about this is this cycle was slightly shorter. And if this cycle was to also repeat and be slightly shorter, then it would get us even closer to that ETF timeline approval. So things are looking really good for a run to 40 odd K by the end of the year. I certainly think this is achievable. Now, this is significantly less performance out of Bitcoin than I was expecting, but I still think that we have got a major upside rally into the end of the year ahead of us. And of course, that gives us major opportunity to load up on Bitcoin related equities and crypto miners and that sort of thing as well. So there's going to be some good trades coming out of this channel. I am convinced of that. Speaking of good trades, well, so far so good, at least. Here's oil. So still pushing the short. If I maybe grab the squiggle and move it out of the way, you can see what's going on. So we've clearly got breakdown, retest, looking for resumption lower, at least for now. So we'll keep pushing this short, and we'll be looking to add to it if we get a breakdown of the secondary line. I know some people have been saying, why is my target down in the $40 a barrel? And I know some of you have got Elliott wave projections that get us down there. That I'm not an Elliott wave guy. I just keep everything as simple as possible. I just use trend lines, as if you've been here before, you'll know. That's what I use, trend lines and cycles for context. And I don't care about anything else. I don't care about indicators. I don't want indicators or anything that is derived from price, because I just want price. I don't want anything that lags. So why is my target down here? It's almost arbitrary, to be completely honest with you. And the way I'm going to deal with this, just to clear this up and make sure everyone knows, is say this red squiggle does play out, right? Once we've got a clear breakdown and this move starts to unfold, then I will draw a trend line, something like this, and I will cover the short as this reverses and breaks out again. That will be my short cover, a breakout to the upside. Now, if we continue to do something like this underneath the trend line, then I'll just keep pushing the short until we break out. But that is how I'm going to be dealing with this trade. And if you think about it, it's absolutely no different to how I normally trade, right? If I put these lines back and I invert this chart, then it's the same thing upside down, right? We've got breakout, retest, resumption, looking for that resumption higher. If we can get out of this one, then there's not much ahead. And we keep pushing the long until we get a trend line breakdown, right? So it's the exact same thing, just upside down. So yeah, if you've got some Elliott wave charts that show you getting us down below 40, that's great. But like I said, I don't know Elliott wave, I don't use it. And I've made the argument a bunch of times on this channel that 99% of Elliott wave charts that I see are completely BS. There's so many nuances to Elliott Wave that it's really like taking a university degree to actually be able to nail it down. Anyway, so pushing the shorts patiently for everything else, still being patient for the precious metals. Is this time to come, or have we got to do something like this and roll over one more time whilst the stock market finds its high before we can go again? That's to be determined, but patience, patience, patience is the order of the day. And out of that, then in a couple of weeks' time, we are going to have some major trades ahead of us. Wishing you all a great week, and until next time, take care from me. All the best. Cheers. Bye.